What's up, travelers? You have found the podcast that is here to explore the world. We are 5 travel experts, hooked on our trade, and ready to share our tales from around the world. You're listening to the Where We Roam podcast. Without further ado, let's roam. Hello, roamers, and welcome to this week's episode of the Where We Roam podcast. My name is John, and I am joined by all of my fellow podcasters. Hey, everybody, how's it going?
Hello,
Hi,
John.
Happy Halloween, John. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween,
This is
Sean.
Halloween. This is Halloween.
Oh,
This is a
that's the wrong part.
spooky episode today.
Super
It
spooky.
is a
So,
spooky one.
well, for those of us who like to celebrate Halloween in August, this is an exciting show that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
And it's
late
April.
August. Late August.
Well, late August is when this starts, but obviously you know this already. If you clicked on this episode, you know that today we are talking about Universal's Halloween Horror Nights. And so this show is going to be part news, kind of an update of dates, pricing, and all those exciting things coming. We can go over a little bit of the houses maybe, but then we're also going to give you kind of our experiences in the past, our takes, our hot takes, maybe our not so hot takes, and see if everybody agrees on the best way to do Halloween Horror Nights. So that being said, Universal just announced the dates and pricing and all of that fun stuff for Halloween Horror Nights. Corinne, will you let us
right?
depends
Yeah.
when this episode drops. So for us, it's last week.
Yeah.
Also, people may not listen to this episode until Halloween's actually kind of closer.
Let's just say now available.
You're not
book.
getting
it is
tickets
now
if you're
available
listening to
purchase.
this in August.
That's
Sir.
not
true.
true.
It'll be
You
sold
in
out.
2025.
You're not getting
Nah.
Halloween night tickets if you're listening to
Right.
this in August. If you're listening to this in
Yeah.
August, you still might get a ticket in August or early September
Mhm.
Yeah.
on an
On
off
a random
night.
Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that being said, I'm going to have Corinne tell us about the dates, and then we'll switch to Dana. We can talk about pricing. But Corinne, when is
Sure.
Halloween at Universal Orlando first? We'll talk about that.
At Orlando. Okay. So this starts on August 30th. So late August, we're
Okay, that
starting
is
to
late.
celebrate Halloween. I believe that's a Saturday, or maybe it's a Friday. But August 30th all the way through November 3rd. So even a couple of days after Halloween is
It's
actually
only 2
over.
months before Halloween. Who doesn't start
Yeah.
celebrating that early?
That's
I mean,
true.
it's not
My
bad.
house
It's
is
not
fully
bad.
decorated, so no judgment if you decide to go on August 30th. But it does take place every night of the week except for Mondays and Tuesdays. And to clarify, this is happening at Universal Studios. So Islands of
Mhm.
Adventure is never
Right.
affected by Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah.
That's right.
Correct. And I do think it's important to note, if you are planning a trip to Universal Orlando Resort during Halloween Horror Nights season, that you just need to be prepared for the park to close. At 6 o'clock if you're over at Studios?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
But,
I mean, to be in general,
I
the
think that's a
park's closed
good.
early anyway, but
Yeah, that's a good. Studios is where this should be at. It's got the space,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have as big of the rides, as popular of rides as I think Islands does. So I think that makes sense for it to be there. It's not a huge killer on your day if you hop over to Islands at the end.
That's
once that
fair.
closes
That's
down.
fair.
We
Mhm.
should also note that this is a separate ticketed event. So even if you have a general park admission ticket for that day, you are not automatically
Yeah.
included in Halloween Horror Nights. This is something that is a separate ticket that you have to add.
Yeah.
Now,
And it's
speaking of
also the age. There's a recommended age of 13
what is
and
that?
up for this event.
13 plus.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
and
Even
you,
some 13-year-olds.
I know. And some younger than 13 can handle it. It's at the parent's discretion, obviously, but it is an older audience. It's geared toward an older audience. The
Mhm.
subject matter is more adult. So you want to consider
Mhm.
that before you bring a young kid into this experience.
Do we
And
know? Does Universal regulate that? Do they track? Like they have
No. They're not going to tell parents they can't bring
No.
somebody in.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
being
Okay.
said,
It's just a recommended
if
age.
if it happens to be the night that I'm there and I see you carting in your 7-year-old, be prepared to get
Johnny's
so
gonna give you a
much
look.
judgment. I will pack
Shade.
my judging eyes all night and be like, judging as in, and sending them your way, because who is bringing a 7-year-old or a 6-year-old or even an 8, 9-year-old? To me, that's just so crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know.
scary even for me, and I'm grown up. I would never be bringing my little babies.
And some of the stuff is a little suggestive too, depending on the
Mhm.
house and stuff. Like, I just
Right.
be better
Yeah.
parents, man. Golly. Stay home and have dinner around the table with your family for once instead of doing Halloween Horror Nights. Dear Lord. That's so bad for like a small child.
I
Well,
love how
Rant
judgy
over.
John
I mean,
gets on our podcast.
This is a new level. Yeah, I have not seen this
Sorry.
level of John before.
I mean, if
I
you have
have.
time
I
for
have.
HHN with your small child, you have time to do other more productive things.
Go make a puzzle. Do a puzzle or something.
Yeah, might play a board game. Your kids will be just as happy,
Anyway.
I promise.
Anyway, they do not police the age as you're
No.
going in, but it is
John will,
is-
but they will not.
Universal team members will not. But it is recommended for 13 and up. Of course, no costumes, no costume mask or anything like that are allowed. But they do have scare zones in addition to the 10 houses. So there's if you're
Perfect.
not if you don't want to do the house, but you still want to scare, there's other little areas you can walk through that aren't as intense as the houses are.
So Corinne mentioned that this is a separate ticketed event, which means you have to pay for admission for this event. So it's an additional cost. I'm thinking, what, $20, $30 extra dollars? Is that what this runs?
No.
No.
Dana, how much does this actually cost? I'm messing.
Well,
I know it's not $20.
It's going to vary by night and if it's a weekend and how late in the season it gets. The closer to Halloween gets more expensive as well. But the starting price, if you want to just go like rock bottom, is going to be $82.99 per person. So that's the starting jumping off point, and it can go up from there. And then you got to think about all the add-ons that you can do as well. You can do an RIP tour. Do you want to do the Express Pass with it? Because even if you're staying at a premier resort and you have a Halloween Horror Night ticket, the Express Pass for Halloween Horror Nights is not included in it like it is with your park ticket.
Exactly.
So
yeah,
Just
and
some extra things to
Express
consider.
passes, though, I mean, the value in them is definitely there. I don't think that you cannot get to all of the houses if you don't have one of those add-ons. However, I was just pricing this out for somebody earlier this week. The park ticket, or not the park ticket, the Halloween Horror Nights ticket was like going to be $92 per person. It was later in October, but it was one of the weekdays. But the Express passes were $203 per person. So the actual Express Pass was over double the actual admission to Halloween Horror Nights.
You might
I'm afraid I feel like you should do VIP.
Yeah.
Or you double down and get 2 HHN nights. If you've got a 3 or 4 nights on property, just split your HHN into 2 nights. But even then, you're probably not getting through all 10 houses.
Right. And the lowest night for Express Pass, I did check, was $129.99. So the lowest you could even get it would be $130 per person. So if you wanted to get strategic, you could play with the dates a little bit if you had some flexibility and get the price
close
down.
To just over 200.
Yeah, get it down a little bit. But you also, even with the Express, I feel like you have to be there pretty much when it starts to get started, to get through all the houses.
Still light out.
Yes, and the scare zones to do it all. We've done it all every year the past couple of years, but we're after midnight before we finish for sure.
And we'll talk about this. I was able to do an RIP tour last year, and that I honestly think that might be the only true way to guarantee you're getting through all 10 houses. I even think with Express Pass, as you get closer to Halloween, I mean, the crowds are crazy. Even with Express Pass, I'm not sure you get through all 10.
Why don't you touch upon that a little bit, Sean? Why don't you tell us about the RIP tour?
Yeah. So last September, I was invited to a special event for an RIP event for HHN. That was my very first HHN experience. I hadn't done it before. Haunted houses really weren't my thing, but it was a fun experience. I will say, John and I have talked about this before. For me, like these houses are all about jump scares, right? People popping out. They can't touch you. So you walk in kind of knowing that they can't touch you. They jump out of different places along each house, but it's all conga style lines, right? You're just following people through. So you can kind of see when people are jumping out. If you're paying attention, and you're still going to have some scares along the way. But my thing with the RIP tour is you went house by house by house by house. There was no downtime. So you're going from one house, maybe waiting 10, 15 minutes to get into a next. And it almost didn't give you the right amount of anticipation to bring yourself back down to an even level to then get hyped up and get scared again. You were just for 4 hours straight going through 10 different houses in a conga style. I don't know. It was.
You say conga, I just see people with like fruit on their head, like dancing through the.
I think I personally appreciate an express pass over an RIP. If you really want to get scared.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of my
being
take.
Said though, I think that if you do a little, especially if you're not going the first week or two, you could do a little research online, maybe look at some forums and see, okay, I know I'm not going to get through everything. What are the must do's? What are the can't misses? Like, you know, and then like also, are there any properties that they're doing this year that like are some of your favorite IPs? Like, okay,
Last of Us last year,
right? And they in the past they've also had Stranger Things and other stuff like that. Like
last year.
Think of like what are your IPs you really want to see? What is everybody else saying about like what are some of the standouts? I mean, what are the ones that are like real duds? You know, and like maybe avoid the ones that are duds. It's like.
Yeah, don't waste any time on the duds.
It's like wasting.
I'll go to the
75. Yeah, okay, there you go. Well, like
I hate haunted houses.
Well, there you go. I mean, it's the equivalent of standing 75 minutes in line for the oh goodness, what's the word I'm looking for the Tomorrowland Speedway.
ET, right?
Stop.
If you don't stop
bashing ET. No, but you know what I'm saying, like, or waiting for the railroad at Disneyland.
I'm with you.
Or Disney World.
But see, I think
Like,
the
I would
Express
just say,
Pass
like,
was
don't waste
better.
your time.
The Express Pass, like Sean was saying to his point about the RIP tour, even with Express Pass, you're still waiting a short amount of time, and it gives you a chance to get some food, or like they have all these fun snacks that they do every year, and some of the themed drinks or cocktails, and you can stand in line and enjoy those, but you're not standing in as long of a line, but you'll still have 15, 20-minute wait per house. So you do have that time to kind of come down. It's to me, I've never done it without Express Pass, so I don't know what that experience is like.
I've done it years ago, like 15 years ago without Express Pass, but I feel like the crowds were very different 15 years ago.
Sure. Yeah.
I think this event has grown
It's
quite a bit.
Exploded.
Constantly.
To kind of touch on the non-Express Pass experience, because last year was actually my first time to go to Halloween Horror Nights. I am not a scary, like I don't enjoy being scared. I have a lot of anxiety about it. I hate going into haunted houses. But I was with my good friend Chelsea, and we went with our husbands last year. She is an adrenaline junkie. She loves haunted houses. She wants to experience it all. We didn't have express passes, and there was too much lag time in between. She was like, let's go. And I was like, I'm getting a drink and I'm gonna sit. But there was too much lag time in between her having to wait in the long lines to see the good houses.
When did you go, and what were the lines like?
We were about mid-October, like 14th through the 16th.
That's peak. That's peak.
Yeah. We were there in October. It was for around her birthday, which is why we chose those dates. But for the dud houses, I mean, it was well over an hour.
Wow.
And a standby line.
That's what it is in October for sure.
So what was like the Stranger Things or Last of Us houses? What was the wait like for that?
Oh, I think some
over
of them
2 hours normally.
Yeah, 90 minutes to 2 hours at least.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's when you really have to, like, I know you don't want to pay the extra money for a
6-hour event, but do the math. That's 3 houses.
Yeah.
If you're lucky,
you're gonna do it. You're gonna do it. Just pay the extra.
Either bite the bullet and get that express pass. Or if you really want to get it all done in one night, go RIP. I'm not trying to downplay RIP. I'm just saying the build wasn't like it normally would have been. Right.
Yeah.
But we got to see everything, and I was back home in my hotel before midnight sleeping.
Wow.
It was great.
What hotel
People
were
were
you at?
still waiting on dockside.
Okay.
Ooh.
So you do.
I did sleep. I did sleep. It wasn't
Dana,
paper thin walls.
Dana is hard rock.
I already got my Hard Rock booked, baby. Last week in September, we're going.
Well, for HHN, Hard Rock is the place to be.
Hard Rock's the place to be.
It was one night in dockside.
Okay,
it was a quick trip.
Okay, you can do anything for one night. Okay,
Hey, I just want to say, y'all were just getting on me for packing my parental judging eyes over here, and y'all are judging our listeners for staying at dockside.
No, I'm judging Sean for staying at dockside.
That's fair. That's fair. If
No,
I
it
went
is
with my
strictly a
family, we
judgment
would
on
be
Sean.
staying
Hard
somewhere with
Rock.
Express. Yeah.
Yes,
there you go.
100%. But I will say something to keep in mind as well is that, yes, this is in Universal, but it's not actually, it's in Universal, but it expands beyond the walls of what you know as Universal.
Right.
So you're going into a lot of
Mhm.
backstage areas, and you have to think about that because we'll be in the park all day, walking all day, and then you're putting a ton of steps in at this event. They're spread out. There's 10 of them, and you're walking a lot, and a lot of repeat back and forth. It's a lot of walking. So someone with mobility issues, and it's dark. You're walking on uneven surfaces. It's definitely it takes some energy, especially when you're going till midnight or whatever. So something to keep in mind as well is the
especially if you
physical
were in the
stress.
parks all day too.
Exactly.
On top of it.
Exactly.
Because it goes until what, 1, 2 a.m.?
2 a.m.
2? Yeah. Just crazy.
Yeah.
Too much for me. I need sleep.
Oh, well, you can do one night, man.
Well, of course.
You weren't sleeping at dockside anyway.
All right.
Kidding.
Megan,
I
you
love
had a question.
dockside. I'm
What were you
just
gonna ask?
Touche.
So I was just going to say, with a regular VIP tour, I know meals are included, usually breakfast and lunch. How about with the RIP? Are any meals included?
That's a great question.
Yeah, and I honestly don't have the answer for it because this was
Okay.
a special event that I was invited to. I don't know exactly. There was obviously food and really some cool things that I was able to participate in. I'm not sure on the. I wouldn't assume so, honestly, for an RIP. For
I think
HHN.
the goal is to get through the houses for the RIP.
Yeah.
As fast as possible.
as fast as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
100%.
Corinne, quick question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you and I have just done it one time. Megan hasn't done it. John's been years, and Dana, I don't trust her judgment on most things. For you,
Wow. Wow.
you don't like scary stuff.
No. Eat it.
How did these houses? What was the your thrill factor doing it the standard way?
It was okay. I did okay. I didn't. I think I only cried once, and that was when we
There were
first came
tears.
into. Yeah. Oh yeah. I've been known not at this Halloween Horror Nights, but in haunted houses before. I've fallen back so hard that I broke one of their faux walls that they had. Yeah, I get legit.
So you're a jumper. You're a jumper.
I'm a jumper. I scream, yeah, and I did okay. I was okay, but granted, we didn't do the houses that were known to be some of the best ones because the lines were so long. So the ones that I just wanted to experience something, and they tended to be we did a dueling dragons one or something like that last year.
Yeah, I remember that one.
My memory
I
has
remember that
mostly blocked it out, but I did okay, and
Okay.
it was fun.
My thought was, they have the lights obviously turned up a bit because you don't want people tripping over things, and there's so much attention to detail that they put into these houses that it's not
They're
your
not
standard.
dark.
Right, they're
Right.
not dark. They're dark, but they're not dark.
Right.
Well,
So you're not tripping over things.
It's dim because, you're right, because it is a very well themed attraction essentially. And it's like a dark ride that you're going through at Universal or at Disney. It's dark in points, but it's still bright enough to see things, and they're highlighting the things they want you to see.
That they want you to see.
Right.
And then taking the lights down in the areas they don't. Right. So like that's their thing. That's the thing. So yes, it's strategically dark. I'll say that. Like certain things are highlighted, sometimes even to distract you from the things they don't want you to see. You know, that to achieve the scare. But yeah, I think
when you were going through
the trip.
Yeah, Corinne, when you were going through the houses, did you have those jump factors, even though the style of the line was sort of that you kind of could see it coming? Like, what was your?
Yes, I mean, I'm a baby. Like, I know that I could see the people in front of me getting scared, so I know where the person is.
It didn't matter.
Scared. No.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have to hang on to somebody.
All right, I'm going to circle back really quickly to the I'm going to circle back really quickly to the RIP tour. It does not, from my understanding, or it actually does not include a meal.
Right.
I'm looking at it right here. It does have access to a cash bar, but does not include a meal.
Okay.
Now,
Makes
there
sense.
is some additional things. If you're doing a private RIP tour, that also like throws in things like it's unlimited VIP entry to, you can do the rides or the houses as many times as you want, as opposed to one per house. Also, there's like, if you do the private RIP, you also get like a 3-day photo package. You know, it's like other add-on things, but really the biggest thing is going to be the getting access, and you get reserved seating at the Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure, that sort of thing, like the big show that they do.
Yeah.
And then also you get what is it called? Express access
On the
to the rides after your tour.
Yeah, and we didn't mention that as well, that some of the rides are running during the event, but not all the rides.
Not everything.
Right.
Well, this
It's
last
like
year was the first year
four
they had
rides.
Harry Potter stuff open.
Yes.
Which was awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they kind of
Usually
had
it's
like
like
the
the
Dementors,
Mummy.
right?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
Mummy, Men in Black, Rip Ride.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
So
Yeah,
we are mostly here. Oh, go ahead, Sean.
I was just going to say the Dementors last year, that was a really cool experience. And again, I think I would liked it more without my dude waving his big red baton tour guide in that area, because it was like green fog. It's all like done up real dark and foggy, and you have these Dementors going all over. It was awesome.
Sean, can I ask you a question? When you go to like
Not
a Broadway
Dementors,
show,
Death Eaters.
Death Eaters, not Dementors.
Yeah,
Thank you.
not Dementors.
When you go to like a Broadway show or like a performance of something, or even the
It's a
movie
stacked
theater,
question.
do you get really, really mad? Like when you see like the exit sign for your safety on how to get out of that theater? You seem really upset that there was somebody like waving you in. Like, does that exit sign at the theater keep you from being engrossed in the movie or the show?
I'll be honest. I've thought about this many times, and I
you
do not
serious?
like those exit signs. They take me out of the experience.
Yeah, just remove you right out of the
It is the most first world
experience.
problem to be complaining about your VIP tour guide as you're going through Universal. My gosh. I would have liked it
Sorry,
so much
guys.
better if there wasn't a tour guide ushering me to the front of every line. Anyway,
Yeah,
I'm giving
that's
it
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
He was cranky. He was staying at dockside, you know.
Yeah, he didn't sleep well.
Yeah, exactly. There it is.
jeez.
All right. I did have a question for Megan. Megan, you are our West Coaster in the group.
Yes.
So a lot of your clients will end up doing this experience, but out in California. We're not going to do as big of a deep dive into the California, you know, all the houses and everything, but how would you say that the experience out there differs from the experience in Orlando?
Well, I wish I had firsthand knowledge. Normally I do. I'm in the parks a lot, but I have not done Halloween Horror Nights because I'm typically traveling with my family. So I know there are less houses out in California versus Orlando. But in general, I think the experience itself should be very similar.
Okay. Now, are there less dates? Do we know? That's my question. I'm guessing they're probably, but
I would
we can always
assume
double
so,
check.
just because I don't feel like it's as popular as
big of a
the
thing
one in
as it is
Orlando.
out here, right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of seems like the thing that they do. I know for a fact that they offer the same express option or the RIP tours and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
of
one
course.
thing that they do out there, which to me looks super, super cool, is they do the terror tram. in Hollywood. I think that'd be so fun. It's like a scary version of the tram ride that they do,
The
like the
backlot
tour.
tour?
Yeah,
That's like over an hour long.
maybe it's a
That
shorter
sounds
version.
There's not as many
Horrible.
houses, so you
Yeah.
can probably have more time.
No,
That's my guess.
That's like a pure like an hour to 90 minutes of being scared.
That
Sounds
sounds,
like
I would
torture. That sounds like
say
torture.
the Hollywood
it's not
does
as
not have
scary?
their dates out yet.
Yeah,
It
that's
doesn't
one
look
thing I was
like.
double checking as well.
Yeah.
So we will put an update of some sort on our socials once 2024's information does come out. I think it's interesting. I think a lot usually, I mean, with the exception of Super Nintendo World. Super Nintendo World? Is that the right way? The right branding? With the exception of Super Nintendo World, they seem to get things second out there in Hollywood as opposed to here. Like they got Super Nintendo World first, but a lot of the things open up first in Orlando. I just think there's so much more real estate, so much more space. It's, that's they're always up against this space constraint in Hollywood. So
That's fair.
So
I don't even know how they would cram all the stuff that they need for those houses and the queues
that's
and
my
everything
question,
into
right?
the space. Maybe we need to take a trip and just
who wants
experience
to go?
it.
You
All
should
of us.
scare
Sign
people
me
on
up.
all those escalators going down, the 4 sets of them that you have to go down. Make that a
That
scary
is
zone.
Halloween Horror
That's scary
Nights.
enough by itself, right?
That's the whole experience. That's it.
By the way, we could also go to Japan or Singapore and do it there.
Oh,
Who knew?
okay.
They do HHN apparently, at least in
I
Japan.
bet they would do it. I bet they would do it up really well.
Oh, I bet it's amazing.
In Japan?
Japan sells out with
Gosh.
what they do.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it would be amazing.
just the idea.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Anything else you guys want to add before we wrap up this episode on HHN?
No, waiting on the houses to come out. I'm so excited.
And all the details.
I would say if you already have a package booked with one of us or on your own, you can add these tickets to your package. You don't have to
easily.
Sometimes tickets for Disney on these things, you have to buy them and pay for it on the spot. With HHN, if you have a package, you can just add it in, and I believe the same cancellation policies apply. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's when it's in a package.
Within a package. So that's a nice little feature.
And
So-
they
so
do sell
far-
out days. Do sell out. And
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
Express
True.
Pass does sell out as well.
They
So-
do.
Same with RIP
Yeah.
with the tours.
Even at $220 just for the Express Pass, it
People
will sell
pay
out.
it. It will
Yep.
sell out.
But now
And
it's
they'll get their
super
money's
interesting.
worth.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it's super interesting that they've done so far is announce the tickets.
Yeah, the houses I was looking at, the houses
yeah.
aren't announced.
They never do
So-
though. They keep it.
When do
have
they announce
a lot
those?
of
Like in midsummer?
speculation. Yeah, I mean, I would expect it to come out in May or end of May, beginning of June at the latest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about
Cool.
August 30th, they're starting.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of
Right.
speculation maps out there. Don't believe
Oh,
anything that says speculation maps.
The fact that these tickets came out in early April, dating this pod, that tells you how popular this event is.
Oh,
They can
yeah.
do it from August till the 1st of November, and they will have no problem selling these things and having it a product that they can,
Yeah.
put out there this long. So
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely.
And Universal's annual pass holders, their top tier has a complimentary night of Halloween Horror Nights included
Okay.
in it. So that does take up some of the tickets as well. I assume they
and
count that
they've
into
got a
their.
locals special as well. I think you can.
They have
I
a
think
Florida
it's
resident.
right.
It's like 10%
Promo.
usually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, one more thing I want to throw out there, which I think is a very cool thing that they do, is it's a separate tour. It happens before the actual event. Is they offer like a behind the screams tour.
Mhm.
And
yeah.
if you are really into the production side of things, or like the hair and makeup, or the, like how seeing the magic behind what they do, like how they create that magic, it starts at $99. I think it's a lot of fun. Could be very, very cool.
Yeah.
Maybe that would help
Yeah.
you, Corinne, to see
I don't
behind the
think
scenes of
anything's
it.
going to help me, but it does sound fun. think it's just who I am.
All
I've
right.
accepted
Tapping out.
mine.
Yeah.
Tapping out of this.
I don't blame you on that.
It's so fun though.
I'm not built for it. I'm not. It's horrible.
It's not your jam.
No.
No, but I'll
that's
do
fair.
it.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I
There are
just need
plenty
a
of people
lot.
who I know who won't.
I need some like liquid courage and like.
So no
fun
Rome
people.
podcast Halloween Horror Nights night.
I'm not saying no, but I mean,
We'll see how we can make it happen.
Yeah.
we'll see.
It's been a long time since I've done it, so it could be fun.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
all right. Well, on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this episode of the Where We Roam podcast. I'd like to thank all of our hosts for sharing their experiences, getting scared the bejesus out of them, the heebie-jeebies, all those things, for sharing your tears, Corinne, with us. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Always.
And-
Always.
Bless it.
Always. Jeez. All right. And so that being said, we're going to wrap up this episode. And if you enjoyed this episode of the Where We Roam podcast or any of our other episodes and would like to let us know your thoughts on Halloween Horror Nights or any other topic, you can connect with us over on Facebook by doing a search for the Where We Roam podcast in the Facebook app. Also, if you enjoyed this episode or other episodes, we would appreciate a like and subscribe or a 5-star review wherever you find your podcasts, or a like and follow over on YouTube if that's how you find the show, as we are currently growing that medium. Once again, thank you so much for listening or watching, and we will talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.